Welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. We're airing every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Zen Radio /Fave Unite Radio FM. I'm Joy Ruffin, a leadership and signature style specialist, your minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings. How I love saying that because it's true. That's who we are. And we are here every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, diving into honest conversations about power, presence, and purpose. I'll be sitting down with a featured guest speaker every week who brings fresh insights on the divine masculine and feminine and all that it entails, because we all carry both within us, no matter our gender. It's about alignment. It's about leadership and building a legacy that's true to who you are. So whether you're listening in for inspiration, direction, or just a new perspective, it's all meant to stir something in you. Remember, there's always more waiting for you at joyruffin.com. Now, my League of Eagles, just sit back and get comfortable. And let me give you a little bit of the background about my featured guest speaker today. Her name, I do have a hard time with pronunciations, you know that, but she's given me free leeway. Andrea Isaacs, founder of the Emotional and Life Mastery Institute. Love that name. It is about mastery. She is an empowering and transformational coach who has changed the lives of thousands of entrepreneurial people in 30 countries over the past 30 years. She has helped them step boldly into what's next and break the 6 and 7 figures into it with a deep belief in themselves and the power of their gifts. There's so much more I can share with you. And just as a brief aside, we'll talk a wee bit about it. After a career-ending injury, loss of her life purpose, and cancer, she uses her own unique methods to heal the plummeting self-doubt and lifelong painful shyness to embody an unshakable confidence to speak on stages around the world. Now, I know you want to meet her, so why don't we say hello to Andrea? Andrea,
hello. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you. I love your background, and there's so much more to share with you. But let's start with where I ended. What power really means and how to claim it with your grace, because you're ending here about your own career injury, loss of life. That ties into that. So share with us how that all came about.
Well, power is a scary word for many people, especially women. And men have it too, but I think the part of the reason is that as youngsters, as young people, many of us were exposed to a wrong, bad, or abusive use of power. And when you've been subjected to that, and I remember for myself, the moment I said, I am never going to be that way. And what happens is we throw the baby out with the bathwater, and there are actually some good qualities about the energy behind the power. Because, for our listeners, many of them are coaches or leaders who are empowering others. Mm-hmm. And you can't empower others unless you embody the root of that word, which is what? It's power. And there is a right and a good use of power, the power to be all that you are, the power to take a stand, to speak up for yourself, to be opinionated, to have wants and needs and desires, and to have a voice. If we don't allow that, then we're half living. We're not fully living.
Oh my goodness. Andrea, I love that. You know why? Because what you just said, you gave me the bullet point here, and all the things that you said, embody, and you embody it with grace.
Yeah, you don't have to try, and it's not forceful. It can be easy and gentle and kind and connected and still powerful.
And full of love, wisdom, and grace with humility, and you embody and balance those out. I love the word balance. Now let's get to what you really do, the work. What you just spoke to is what you do. But let's start off with the 3 keys that you gave me to unshakable confidence and how to apply them in real life. I love that because I said to the lady before that I did an interview with, I work in 3s and 5s, 3 and 5 sentences, paragraphs, comments, whatever. I don't know where it comes from, but it is. But what are these 3 keys to unshakable confidence?
I love this topic. Oh my goodness. There are actually so many more, but I'm going to highlight 3.
Yes.
Time. So one of the biggest ones, and I discovered this by looking at the results of their EQ quiz, which by the way, we'll give our listeners the link to.
Good.
The EQ quiz is based on a personality system called the Enneagram. Ennea means 9 in Greek, and it describes 9 different personality styles, each with predictable gifts and challenges.
Yes.
And at one point, there's a whole other story about why I did this, but I created my own assessment to help determine someone's type. However, I very quickly learned it's not just about what their type is, because all of the scores impact each other and impact the person to either empower you or to disempower you. And I discovered some of the reasons why people don't have confidence. For instance, there's a type called the peacemaker. The gift is to go with the flow, to get along with all kinds of people, to be a mediator. And now a mediator will often compromise because they want peace. And that's a good quality, except when you compromise again and again and again and again, you start to feel that no one cares what I want. Well, what happens to that person is because getting along and going with the flow and not rocking the boat is so important, and they put aside their own needs over and over and over and over again, they develop the inability to even know what they want. And they feel like they feel invisible. They feel like no one cares. They don't care what I think. My feelings don't matter. My opinions don't matter. What I want doesn't matter. I want to go for dinner doesn't matter. My gifts don't matter. And they lose their voice. And underneath that is burning anger for years, for an accumulation of not being heard.
Yes.
And this is, I'm going to say one more statement, then I'll toss it all back to you. What happens when you have that anger underneath is it limits your ability to take a stand, because taking a stand and being confident is powerful. And when they have held back, they're taking a stand and knowing what they even stand for, they are afraid of their power. And one of the things I do with my clients is I help them heal that early life wound so they can really believe in their hearts and souls and in their bones, in every cell of their body. They can believe I matter, my gifts matter, my thoughts matter, my feelings matter, my opinions matter, I matter. And that boosts your confidence.
I love the explanation. I love the way you shared that with us, because we started off with that power word and you expressed it clearly, and then giving an analogy or an example rather of the peacemaker and finding their voice when they lost it and it's turned into anger. That is so powerful. And I think, not knowing, because I don't have statistics, Andrea, but I think that's where the anger comes in and becomes embedded, and you can't embody that and grow. So when you said that you're helping them to discover that what's holding them back, and then so they can move forward and say, I matter and my voice matters and I'm here. I think that's beyond powerful. How did you, when you took these 9 types and samples, was Peacemaker the first one at the top of your list of the 3 keys, or how did you come to that?
Well, the most common challenges that I've seen in the thousands of clients I've worked with.
Yes.
Because, it's also my own journey, because I grew very tall very quickly.
Yes.
And I was, so I literally stood out in a crowd, and I was painfully shy and hated to be looked at. I just hated it. And my mother would tell me over and over and over again, just be confident. And you know what? She told me a zillion times. I told myself a zillion times, and it never worked.
Oh, my goodness.
In fact, she would put me up against a wall and push my shoulders back, and she'd say, just stand up straight, Andy. And I have good posture, but it didn't build my confidence. And so that's how I knew there's something else. Like, how can I do that? And I tried and tried and tried until I did this work I do based on the Enneagram, and embodying the gifts of all of the types did that shift for me.
That's the key word that's in the stratosphere now. The shift happened for you then, because I think that's what I use it, the analogy, Andrea, that we're in a period now of deep awakenings. And for those who really want to prosper and grow into the best of themselves, that awakening is coming. And so what you're supporting people in is the discovery of that. But you mentioned that word, build your confidence, and how your momsy would always put you and push your shoulders back and all of that. What do you think, what do you know now that you were able to begin to build that confidence? What was the seed for you?
Well, I want to back up a second, because the message, this is related to your previous question. I used to believe that, I didn't matter. You're more important than me. Everyone matters more. The universe doesn't have time for me. There's so many people that need God's help more than me. So that's okay. And I just had this, I wasn't aware of it, but later I realized I had that belief, and that holds you back from your power, from your voice, from knowing what you want, from all of that. And so I'm sorry, now I lost your last question.
Well, no, I was asking you because I was going to piggyback on it. How did you, and what was the seed that after your mother pushed your shoulders back and told you to have that confidence and build that confidence, and then you start, when did, even before you came to the 9 different types that you're working with now, when did the seed come to you that you began to build that self-confidence within you? Because that's what I've had to do. Because people would always tell me, oh, Joy, you're so pretty, you're so attractive. I never felt it. So I had to build that within me and learn my own beauty, my own whatever. So I received what you said, but I'm saying, when did it start for you? For me, it's been a long journey.
Well, it often is, but I found a way to fast track it. Unfortunately, I didn't learn it until many decades after living it, but this is how I learned it. When I discovered a system called the Enneagram, and because of my previous background as a dancer, choreographer, I had my own dance company. I loved to have my dancers embody the emotions I wanted them to communicate on stage, so the performance was authentic and powerful. That was my background when I came across this personality system. And I discovered for the first time why I had been so shy for decades. And so I went to a training program. It was a week long of sitting on my butt for 12 hours a day, with great information poured into my head. And I thought, well, this is really interesting, but I want to do the types. Because my background is very experiential, and I think experiential kinesthetic learning, that lasts. I wanted to, and I knew how we could embody these different emotional qualities and energies. I knew it could exist. I knew how it could exist. I knew it should exist, and it didn't. And so I created a method called Any Emotion to explore, embody, and learn about the Enneagram. And I used it as my certification presentation for Don Riso and Russ Hudson. People in the Enneagram world would know those names. And they liked it so much, they invited me to be a founding faculty member for their professional training program. But here's what happened next.
Yes.
Because it really surprised me. Confidence became a part of me. I was like, what? How did that happen? And I realized this. So we explored in the Any Emotion exercise. We explore each type when they're really healthy and the predictable ways they get unhealthy and even pathological. So the healthy attributes for this particular type, called the leader, is all the things that had been elusive: having a voice, being confident, holding your ground, taking a stand, letting people know where they stand with you, etc. All those things that had been elusive, we move in that way. And their shadow side is, guess what? Anger. I'll never be like that. So we have to embody it because it's part of this personality, I'm thinking, right? So we start the exercise. The room exploded in anger, and it scared me. And I looked for the door, and I had to stop myself from running out. I said, you can't leave. You're the facilitator. So I forced myself to stay. And I already mentioned I'm tall. So this man who was taller than me, he comes up to me doing just what I told the group to do, moving away that's fast, strong, and direct. And he's coming at me with all this heavy, really intense movement that scared me. And I started to cower and shrink and shake. And I was like, wait a minute, this is just an exercise. I could do that back to him. Like, I created that exercise. You'd think I knew that. And so I tried, and it was really hard. It was strange, foreign, and difficult for me. But what I learned in that exercise, and here's the answer to your question.
Yes.
What I learned is anger is just energy. And having a lot of it, and that energy doesn't have to force you to do anything. You can choose to use it for good or for bad. And I could choose to use it just to stand there, to be in the energy of anger. And I'm feeling it now as I'm speaking to you. I can feel my feet on the ground and the cells of my body just kind of line up. I can stand in the energy of anger, whether it's mine or someone else, and it's not going to force me to yell, to raise my voice, to strike out, to hurt anyone's feelings. I can still have that heart-to-heart connection. I can still be kind and gentle and compassionate and just tell you what happened.
My. Let me, I take everything and I dovetail back on what you said and I boil it down because I'm like that TV show back in the day, just the facts, ma'am, the facts. So I boil it down. But listen, what I received, because I feel and I see and I know this to have a grain of truth in it. You mentioned that you were a dancer in the dance company and the stage. There's something about the stage, that theatrical stage and the emotional exercising. That's why most every young person at some point before they want to be on the stage, they want to be an actor, an actress or something, even if they want to be a scientist or something. And then you talk about emotional exercises that you did and how you discovered that it's only energy. Well, energy is what we all move around this planet Earth with, right? But that's a discovery. And it's a big discovery, a big discovery. How did you, after this person pulled you back and then you said you could feel it somewhat here and now, how did you begin the next step with that discovery?
Well, we have to train and strengthen these new neural pathways. Mm-hmm. It was a neural pathway. We have a neural pathway for every thought, feeling, or action we've ever done. Mm-hmm. And those patterns that we repeat a lot get bigger and stronger, and they're strengthened just like your muscles get stronger when you go to the gym and work out. You do your reps, right? Your muscles get big. Yes. Same thing with your neural pathways. If you are told over and over and over again that you matter and I love you and you're worthy and so on, that neural pathway for believing in yourself will be quite well developed. If you habituated to receiving messages like that was stupid, why'd you do that? That was wrong. We don't have time for what you want. What you want doesn't matter. If you get those messages, those neural pathways get so strong until it becomes your belief, right? So once you break through and you heal that old wound and you start to create, and that happened for me in that anger exercise I described to you. Once you heal it, you start to create a new neural pathway, say for anger. And this is very personalized, which is what I do in my coaching. And also there's a free call that we'll invite our guests to capture.
Good.
Yeah. What happens is when you have the neural pathway, we have to anchor it as a new way of being. And we anchor it twice. And this is about embodiment. We anchor it in the body with what I call a mudra. Traditionally, mudra is a prayer or meditation position. I take a lot of creative license. It could be any body position that captures that feeling of, I believe in myself. And for me, I'm feeling that in every cell of my body when I do this movement. And I know our listeners can't see me, but you can feel it. I believe in myself. And you repeat it over and over again with, let me back up. So once you have it in your body, that's the first time we anchor it. And then you ask yourself, oh, what does this energy say about me? Find an I am or I have phrase that captures that energy. And then, oh, I believe in myself. That's where that came from. It came from my body informing my mind. If I just told you, hey, just believe in yourself, it'd be, yeah, it's a nice affirmation, but it's never going to work.
Yes.
Right.
That's like positive thinking when they say think positive, but unless you have something like this neural pathway, it's just another way of implementing that. But I like when you said that you have to do things 2 or 3 times over and train in that way and outlook is what you're saying.
Right. And what I found is the combination of the mantra, which is the phrase, the mantra, which is anchored in your mind, and the mudra, which is anchored in your body, together are the quickest, most powerful way to create and train and strengthen a neural pathway. So when you want to make change happen, you have to create the neural pathway for the change you want.
That's why they say mind, body, and spirit. I'm jumping the gun a wee bit, right?
Sure.
Because a neural pathway using the mind and the body, and that enlightens and instills something within the spirit and the essence and the energy of you so that you can express the higher vibe or expression of you.
Well, yes. And what that makes me think of is when our mind is connected to our bodies and our hearts and what our feelings, we're one. We are whole. We are a whole being. And that really connects us to source.
Oh, now that's the word, Andrea, that a lot of people today, especially, today as I'm working here and I'm listening, and I'm sure you in different ways, all of us, about them selecting the new Pope. Oh. So the higher source, no matter what your higher source is or might be, there's also that mind, body, soul, spirit, heart, and soul connection. Yeah. So what you're talking about in different ways is that emotional exercise and that energy that you want to transform so that you can feel your power and your own sense of confidence. So that leads me to, you've already spoke to it, but let's take it a little bit further. What about this unshakable? Everybody loves that word. It's both difficult and essential for women, because I work predominantly with women. I love men. I think it's mutual. And I know you do as well. But why is it that you put this essential for women leaders?
I think women more than men are told to not speak up. And especially if we're all at the table, say in a meeting, and there are more men and women, guess who's, or say they're the same number of men and women, guess who gets more airtime? It's almost always the men.
Woo. And girls don't do this, right? Girls don't do this, or women don't do this. That's passé, right?
Right. And women who are strong are often told they're too much. Men who are strong they're good leaders. Why?
Hallelujah.
Strong and good leaders, right?
Gone. Yes.
There is a feminine use of power. And what is that, one might wonder?
Yes.
It's not as forceful. It maintains the connection, which means there's better communication, which means there may be more kindness. And I'm not saying men aren't kind. I don't mean to say that.
No, I don't know. I know
there are some incredibly kind men out there. However, women in general, they have this heart, which is part of who they are. And there's no need to push your heart down or to repress it or to not have your feelings present as a leader.
Feelings. Mm-hmm.
Leaders who lead with heart are even more empowering to others because they feel their hearts.
Yeah. And even though you started off about the neural pathway and energy and emotional exercises, the heart is still the ruler, but we learn to manage it.
Well, it is when you let yourself feel your heart. And I think in terms of men and women, the whole, again, men, yes, there are men who feel their hearts. I don't want to say they don't.
We're not denying and bashing men in any way, but we are talking about the strength of women because we are the bedrock of society. And that's not to deny or emasculate men. Neither of us are even considering that at the wildest possibility. But the bedrock, the backbone of society, yes, we are. So, that said, when we talk about feminine power and unshakable confidence, back to that, how do you support those who maybe need more emotional exercises within themselves to get to that heart and that wholeness?
Yeah.
How are you implementing all of these different types of styles of delivery so that we can be more into our own power?
I love how you phrase the question because it brings me to the second key. If someone takes my quiz, which is at eqquiz.com, and you get the whole emotional mastery toolkit for free when you get there. When someone takes my quiz and I see your quiz results, I could see what's been holding you back from your power. I already described what happens with the peacemaker. It's like too much of a good thing. It's the gift gone wrong. When you are so concerned about keeping the peace, you diminish your voice. There's another score called the perfectionist. And that's a beautiful skill. It's a beautiful trait to strive to be perfect, to do things perfectly, to be detailed and organized and have integrity. All that is good. What happens when that person has a red score, I call it the red score, it's the challenge of that particular type. A couple of things happen. One is you've developed a very harsh inner critic. And you come from you. I would say 99.9999999% of the time, it came from early life when you were criticized.
Yes.
You were criticized as a youngster. You start to take on those statements as if they're true. It becomes a part of you. That becomes a neural path. Oh, I guess I'm stupid. I'm just going to mess it up. Why bother even starting? Because I'm just going to fail. And when that score is strong, we have to heal that wound. So how I work with people is I look where some of these challenges are. And almost always it means going back to an early life imprint. And I have different methods for healing that old wound. And it doesn't take 7 years of therapy. It doesn't take a year of therapy. Some people have said things to me like, I've worked on this in therapy for 7 years and you fixed it in one session. It's amazing how quick healing and change can happen when you have, some of these tools. So we heal that. And then we anchor the new way of being, again, with a mantra, the word that anchors the change in your mind, and a mudra, a body position. And I don't tell you what body position to do or what the statement should be. I mean, I can do that, and I do that. And there are generic mantras and mudras that help all of the scores. However, when you do the exercise yourself and your body finds this new way of being and your body informs your mind, there's poetry and power in what comes out of your mouth. The phrases, the mantras that my clients come up with after doing these exercises just blows my mind and touches my heart every time. They're phrases I would never think of. Or if I were to tell you in the beginning of a session, why don't you say these words? You'd say, oh, come on, get out of here.
But poetry, when it's done right for the individual where it resonates with them, it is beautiful beyond words, words.
And it comes from this person's heart and soul. It comes from their higher self.
Yes.
Your higher self knows exactly what you need. And I actually have a way of accessing your higher self, my client's higher self, and get a download that's just so beautiful, so potent, so exactly what you need to hear.
Andrea, did I hear you just say that your heart and soul knows exactly what you need? Did I hear that? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Do I love that?
We don't listen.
Yes.
We don't.
Well, I think that listening is something that most of us, regardless of what level and where we're at, we need to learn more about how to do that, embody that within our everything, because the answers are there. We've always known that. And, back to the second one that you gave us, the peacemaker did not resonate with my soul, but the perfectionist did. And I don't blame anybody like Momsy and the upbringing, the family background or any of that. But Momsy just had all of this perfectionist stuff about her that mirrored onto me. But I released that. I don't have that anymore. I make more boo-boos than the law allows, but I embrace it because I know now and I understand it. But would that be, along with the peacemaker, you said there are like 3 of the top ones, would that be in the top 3 contingent upon all the variables? The peacemaker?
Absolutely. It's amazing how common that one is. The inner critic. Well, here's something else that happens with the inner critic, though. It leaks out onto others. And people who have that strong score there and they're harsh on themselves, I see the light bulbs going on.
Yes.
And they criticize, and now they're it's mild compared to what they do to themselves. So if you or anyone of our listeners, if you know someone who's really critical of you, just know that they're even harder on themselves.
Exactly. And I like your leaks out, because one way or another, it showcases itself, and and they feel it. And so that's good. And your point is well made. If you know somebody like that, why is embodiment the missing key to lasting? I think I have the answer, Andrea, but I want to hear it from you, because I think that embodiment is
my Momsy. I like how you call it Momsy.
You know what? It took me a long time to come to this, by the way, because I'm a happy senior, and it's taken all of these years, and I'm still always in the process of. But I forgave myself and Momsy because she did the best she could, and I understand that now. I couldn't understand it when I was evolving, but I get it now. So I always say Momsy.
I'm going to use that word. I like it. So when my Momsy told me just to stand up straight, she pushed my shoulders back, and she said, just be confident, Andy. Did I know in my head I wanted to be confident? You bet. Did I know in my heart I wanted to be confident? 1,000%, yes. In my body, did I know how to be confident? No, it was still elusive. It was impossible. In fact, here's a funny story. The worst birthday gift ever was my 13th birthday.
Oh my
I
goodness.
got a golden envelope. And I thought, this is interesting. I wonder what this is. I'm curious. So I slowly opened up this envelope, and I pull out this gorgeous folder with golden colors and bling bling. And I open it up, and I was horrified. It was a set of modeling lessons. And the idea of walking down a runway and being looked at was a nightmare. It was horrifying. And I burst into tears.
Oh my.
I never went to one of those lessons. I know my mother meant well. She thought it would build my confidence.
Yes.
But it was not something I could tolerate doing. Oh my God. I cried my heart out.
I can imagine. Oh my God. When I was waiting for you to open the envelope, and then when you express it, I could see, I could feel it. I can see you. I get it. And many parents with a shy young girl especially will send her off to modeling decorum school or whatever. So I get that. I went there too as well, but for a different kind of reason. I get it. So what's the third factor? We've covered two of the major, and I know there are 9.
Yeah, there are 18 because each one has a gift in this challenge, and the not having the gift also will hold you back, and then having the challenge will hold you back. But anyway, the third key is this, and this was also quite personal for me. It's a score that is for the personality type called the achiever. Ooh. And we all have hopes and dreams. It could be, business, building your business and being an entrepreneur and growing your business. It could be maybe you're retired and you just want to have a meaningful, happy life. Whatever your intentions are, let's call that your goal or your dream. Mm-hmm. And whether you achieve it or not, there's a lot to be said about that. But when that score is low, it tells me whatever it is you're wanting in your life, it's not happening. And so I look at the whole picture. It's not just about that one score. I look at the whole thing and I look at the reasons why. And the reason I see here is that this person just doesn't believe in herself.
No matter what they're projecting, no matter what they're saying and how they're showing up, you can see and you get that in the score.
In the score, right. And what's interesting is I can know their background. Oh, you did this and you did that and you did research and neuroscience and you went to South Africa and did a study on the culture. Blah, blah. I mean, you've been a university professor. This person could be brilliant,
right?
And yet not achieving. It's not that this person can't achieve. Oh gosh, this is another way that all the scores are related to each other. There's something I call the scattered whammy. It's a score that tells me you have so many possibilities of what you could do. And entrepreneurs are usually so creative and innovative. There's so many things you can do. That is a gift because you're innovative. And it's also a challenge because if your green score for type 8, the leader, is low, not only do you not have confidence, that's your confidence score, it means your gut knowing, the ability to listen to and honor your gut knowing is offline.
Ooh, offline.
So you don't make a decision about what to focus on. And that impacts your ability to focus. As a score for that. For type 5, the observer, they focus, they know how to hold their focus until they get to the bottom of fully understanding something. And again, it's not that they can't focus, they just haven't decided what to focus on. And there's like this domino effect. The next domino that falls down is your ability to achieve. And then it could be that you just don't believe in yourself.
Oh my goodness. I find this beyond, Andrea, I find it beyond fascinating because the top 3 that you mentioned, I have a question for you because I've encountered and met people, myself included to an extent, where they might mirror and have a combination of the 3 that you've mentioned, the peacemaker, the critic, the overachiever, the perfectionist, and the achiever. Can they intertwine? Can you find and discover in the tests that you give and the results that you get back to score? Do you see a mixture or an intermingling of the different ones?
I do. And that's why the Enneagram, in my opinion, is not just about what your type is. That's a very narrow view.
Good point.
It's interesting information, but it's just a little bit of information because look at the whole picture. And so, yes, in fact, what I've discovered is not only are all those scores very much interrelated in answer to your question, but also, and this is really cool, there could be the one thing that we could change that would be what I call the first domino. Because you know how I described when this had the scattered whammy, your gut knowing's offline, and then you don't focus and you're not achieving. It's the dominoes keep falling down.
Yeah.
But what if we stand up the first domino, the rest of them don't have to fall down? And that is why change can be quick. Because you pick up that first domino and then, oh my gosh, I believe in myself. Oh, and it's easy just to hold your ground and confidence becomes a part of you. And then you know how to focus because your gut knowing is saying, just do this. Stop, focus, and commit.
Yes.
And it all just tumbles back up.
I love your explanation, because when it comes to being an innovative person and brilliant, and yet there can be that combination of scattered, whatever that second word was there that you used.
Whammy.
Yes, and they're all kind of interrelated, but that can take away the momentum of what you're attempting to do. And so one has to know that.
Well, you and I, before we started recording, we were talking about FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yes.
So the scattered whammy is like a knockout punch. The fear of missing out is very much like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. But what if I don't do that? Oh, I have to do that too. It's delightful to have so much richness in your life. However, we can't do it all. And it does affect our momentum, as you said.
Yes. And I think, again, you alluded to, you mentioned it, they're all kind of interrelated, and you can discover that. And I think what you're saying also, without saying, is that one of the keys that you've taken and gone beyond the 9 types, and how you're able to put your finger on the key domino that you want to keep standing so that they don't all fall. However you do that, I think it's beyond, there's a lot of brilliant people, smart people, intellectual, all kind of one and the same, beautiful, but whatever. But there's that element that's missing. So what you're helping them to do, supporting them in doing, is discovering what that is so that they can continue to soar like the eagle, right? That's what you're doing.
Oh, yes. I gave a talk this year called Soar in 24. It was last year, I guess. Soar in 24. And when all these things are lined up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what can happen.
Oh my goodness. I just find this beyond exciting, and I'm mesmerized somewhat by it. And the time goes here, but I've skipped around, so I'm not scattered, but I do kind of bounce. That said, I asked why embodiment is a missing link to lasting confidence. We spoke to that briefly, but what I really want to get to is your personal journey. You mentioned it a little bit, but I want you to give us more. From self-doubt to global stages. This is a time that stages comes in here for the 3rd time. But speak to that a little bit as we wrap up here.
Yeah. So self-doubt permeated my life for the first many decades. It was my shyness, my belief that, the self-criticism, well, actually it was the criticism I received from my dad over and over again, where I just thought anything I do is going to be wrong. And it was a plummeting self-doubt. And after my cancer diagnosis and the divorce, like my self-worth plummeted. All of that happened. And once I remember doing this exercise with my cancer experience, I embodied all the emotions that came up after my diagnosis, everything from fear to anger and loss and more. And so I'll never forget this one particular exercise where I just focused on the fear. And it was like there was this black cloud that started to descend on me. And it was heavy, and couldn't see through it. And it started to smother me, and I felt choked, and I couldn't breathe. And then I noticed my hand started to reach through that black cloud. And I learned in that moment that I could ask for help. And I had been very self-sufficient. I don't need your help. Thank you. I've got this. And it was vulnerable to admit that I do need some help. And I learned how to ask for help. And I got all the support I needed. And it was beautiful. And that started to turn my life around. And then, it was an evolving thing. Early on in my journey, I met this woman named Paula, who was a very healthy version of the achiever, she had this crystal clarity about her dreams. And people with a strong score here are crystal clear about what they want, where they're going, the steps, the sequence, the timing, what they need to do to get it done. They are get it doneers. And this woman, Paula, was so talented in so many areas. She was a corporate trainer. She was an artist. She had a home in the country and a home in the city. She had this great relationship with this man. And I said to her one day, Paula, how do you be you? And she looked at me quizzically, and she kind of shrugged. I'm like, I don't know. I just believe in myself. Ding, 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 ding. The bell started going off. I'm like, wow, what a sentence. So in that moment, that became my mantra. I believe in myself. And I'll tell you, if anyone wants more of this, just say it to yourself over and over and over again. However, don't just say the words. Feel the meaning of the words in your body, in your whole body, because that is what will strengthen the neural pathway. I believe in myself. And then I added, I believe in myself and I go for my dreams. I believe in myself and I go for my dreams. And I said it over and over and over again until I believed it. And then it became true. And that's when I started getting invitations around the world. I've been to 30 countries teaching this work.
That's what I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't bring that up in your bio and I was hoping that you would, and I'm glad that you did. But I want to go back. I find this, I'm the perennial ongoing student, but I also take to heart and soul a lot of what I'm gathering. I like what you ask her, how do you do you? How do you get to you? And she says, well, I just believe in me. And I like your mantra, because I like mantras. I believe in myself. And you took it further, and I'm going for my dreams. I go for my dreams. But I'm going to ask you to piggyback a wee bit when you said this black cloud came over you and you could feel it reaching. What was that pivotal moment? Was it after you met this woman? I think you said her name was Paula. When did you decide, or when did you know that you wanted to get help, that you needed someone to help you, that you needed guidance? What, after that black cloud or prior to that, how were you navigating? What were you doing?
Well, I have had quote therapy a few times in my life. Although since I created this method of emotional and life mastery.
Yes, I love that.
I've been my own coach. See, there's a turning point, and this might be useful for our listeners. There was a turning point. Once you get to the bottom of the pit that you've dug for yourself, for me, it was smothered by fear. There's a question to ask yourself. Actually, ask your body. I asked my body, here I am smothered by this black cloud of fear and I can't friggin' breathe. Ask your body.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to take my hands off my throat and stop choking myself. And I just allowed my body to find something different. And my body chose, I didn't choose, my body chose to reach through that cloud. And then I recognized what I was doing. I'm reaching out to someone. I'm reaching out. Oh, it's safe to reach out? Yes. It's safe to ask for help? Yes. It's safe to let myself receive love, help, and support? Yes. It came from my body finding its way through that.
Do I love that? And what you said, that you became your own coach. That's what I've done for myself, with a lot of help and a lot of therapy and a lot of guidance. But that's what you do become, because you want to be the best of you. Yeah. My goodness gracious sakes alive. I can't believe all of this wonderfulness that you're sharing with so many people. And I love the word global, even before I understood what it really meant. I mean, I knew it was people all over the world, but you've traveled on all these different stages with your coaching and the beliefs that you're bringing to them with all these different types of programs. This isn't corny, what is the most outstanding enlightenment and miracle somewhat and magic that you've created within yourself that you're sharing with others? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
I'd love to hear your answer. You want to tell me first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. The magic that in myself that I've used for myself.
Yes.
Gosh, so many things are coming to mind at once.
Yes.
I'll kind of spill them all out and I'll see which one might be most important. Mm-hmm. One, it has to be that I matter. Oh, here's one that's like really, it makes me a little vulnerable to say it out loud, but I will.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm like tapping into that feeling. It's like, my heart is safe. Being shy, my heart did not feel safe because I was so much expecting to be criticized. How dare I be seen for fear of being criticized? My heart was not safe. And I believe that one of the biggest changes for me was knowing and feeling and truly believing that my heart is safe. And when my heart is safe, I can let myself be seen. When my heart is safe, I can be on stages around the world and to be totally confident. When my heart is safe, I can reach out to all the people I most want to connect to, which were the people I was most afraid of when I was shy. When my heart is safe, I can be all that I am. So I think in answering that, I think that's it.
I think that's great. I think your audio is going in and out of there, but I received that. I hope it comes through. But let me tell you, the magic and the miracles that you're sharing and imparting onto others is well worth all the time, love, and energy that you're putting into it. And I wish you only the best. I'm glad that you mentioned a lot of the ways and means that people can connect with you and the free gift and all that you're offering. I can't believe the time has gone by, but it has. So it's time to say so long for now. Is there anything, any parting words or takeaway other than all the brilliance that you share with us and love that you want to leave the audience with tonight? And then I'm going to close out.
Yeah. Well, there are two things. One is take the quiz, EQ
Yeah.
quiz.com, QQUIZ.com, and I'll get your blueprint. You will as well. And then you'll get, you'll have I think it's a $250 savings on a call with me. And I can tell you what I see in terms of your unique combination of gifts that point to your life purpose. And having lost my own life purpose once upon a time, I know how important that is. And it also points to your unique challenges that might get in the way from clarity about your purpose or living it. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, if you feel down, unclear, or struggling with something or reactive to something someone said or did to you, ask your body, what would my body rather feel? That's a shortcut to change. Ask your body, how would my body rather feel? And then I'm telling you, if you shift your body, shift the energy in your body, the words that come out of your mouth next will be different, and it'll have a different tone. And chances are it'll go much better.
Oh my God. Whew. Andrea, thank you so much. I mean, you've given us so many pearls of wisdom here and love. And my only prayer is that people will partake of it and get to know you and connect with you. And until they do, I'm going to say so long for now. Just hold tight while I close out the show. And let me just say thank you all for tuning in to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. Our featured guest speaker today, your assignment, you know we love homework here, is to connect with her. I'm Joy Ruffin, your minister of enlightenment, which we spoke a lot about today. And by the way, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good night for some of you, wherever you are. You're always welcome here to the Minister of Enlightenment, Awareness, and Awakenings. That's me, Joy Ruffin. If something in today's conversation struck a chord with you, well, let's keep the connection going. Visit me at joyruffin.com and make sure you connect with Andrea Isaacs, because you're going to learn more about the work that I do and the offerings that she has and myself as well. And we're sharing with you today. You can also reach me directly and I have no fear of giving out this number because it is what it is. So if you want to connect with me at 772-240-9810, text and leave a message and I will connect with you. And visit me if today's conversation sparked something. I'm sure it did. I'm already enlightened with what Andrea shared with us today. And if you really want to go deeper, visit with me at joyruffin.com. You'll find a space to connect, to explore, and tap into free resources that change and grow as you do, as we do. Whether it's style, leadership, divine femininity, equality, or power. Oh, we spoke a lot about power today, our power, and living your truth. There's always something new waiting for you here and just for you. So until the next time, my League of Eagles, stay present, stay bold, and keep soaring higher and higher and higher. We'll see you every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right here on Zen Radio/Fade Unite, sending you much love from my heart to yours. Until the next time, all the best. Cheers.